Okay, so today a video about the topic that everyone want to hear about, but no one watches on YouTube: trading mindset and psychology tips actually to overcome fear and embrace your success in trading. Now, this is something I've had in mind for a while. I want to discuss some topics that you need to be aware of to become a good trader. Some things that most channels don't talk about, most people don't care to hear about or listen about or apply to their own trading. But I think it can make a big difference in how you do things and your results overall. So we'll just dive right in. Okay, so if you're among the 5 people still watching the video, this is a good sign. Let's go to some things. So I want to talk today about discipline. I want to talk about handling stress, about how to overcome your patterns in trading, the patterns you do wrong, things you can do better. And we'll have a quick look at your abilities to predict the market. And lastly, we'll talk about how to implement a growth mindset for your trading. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Very in-depth stuff today, but like quick discussion on these things. And I know most people won't care about it too much because it's a topic that is kind of tougher to understand. It takes time to practice this. It takes a lot of action and implementation. Not a get-rich-quick scheme for sure. So we'll definitely discuss that. All right, discipline is a topic that a lot of people have issues with because they try to force discipline on themselves. They show up in the market, trade a strategy that they barely know or that they barely can just find online, and they hope to be disciplined with it. And they soon realize that it's very hard to be disciplined with a strategy that you don't know the rules or don't know the expectation of. It's very tough to keep going with that strategy over time. The other issue is that discipline is not like a light switch on the wall. You can just like switch it on, switch it back off. You cannot just like control it that way. You cannot also build discipline. It's very hard to do. If you lack discipline, it's a symptom that something else is going wrong in trading. And most likely it's that you don't have enough preparation. So I had a call with Randy Howell in the past who coached me on mindset, and he's a really good psychologist. You can definitely check out his video over here. Randy said something interesting, which is a lack of discipline is just a symptom for a lack of preparation. It's a sign that you're not adequate for the level you're trying to reach now. So for example, if you have an account that's $1,000, but you want to risk $100 per trade, 10% of your account per trade, you lack discipline because you're not really prepared for that amount. And it doesn't make sense either to risk that amount per trade. In the same principle, if you try to trade something you don't know the stats of, you're not prepared of, you don't know if it has an edge or not in the market, or you barely know the rules, you're not prepared for that. You're not adequate to that level yet. So then you're not supposed to be disciplined. You cannot just force yourself to be disciplined more and more with a strategy that you don't know works, or if you're not prepared enough. So instead of trying to force discipline, trying to find hacks to be more disciplined, which are just like basically just patches that don't work, try to find out the root cause of that lack of discipline. What makes you be not disciplined and what causes it? Is it because your strategy is bad? Is it because you had a lot of losses in the past that you have to work through? Is it because you trade with too much risk or too little capital? Or because you just didn't try any demo account yet and you just go live in the market right away? What makes it that you lack discipline right now? Very big key to understand. Now, when it comes to handling stress, it's something that I see a lot of people who try to do also, where they place trades, they put a lot of risk into their trades, or they have a stop loss that's like way too far, or they get in the trade and then price goes against them, then they move the stop loss more to kind of have more buffer, and then they feel stressed. And again, stress, you cannot just cut it off, you cannot just reduce it, you cannot just kind of put stress away. You got to work through it. And stress is also a symptom for something else going wrong, for something else you're putting on yourself. We don't feel stressed just because nothing happens, because we're calm, we're taking trades very like quietly, very calm. We won't feel stressed for that. We feel stressed when we're not prepared or inadequate for something we want to do. When things are too crazy, when there's too much of a potential loss, that's when we feel worried about the outcome. Now, there are going to be times in trading where you try to stretch your comfort zone a little bit. You try to go like a little bit beyond what you used to, and that's very good to do. That's a good idea. You want to always stretch yourself a little bit, go beyond that comfort zone a little bit as much as we can to grow and become better. So an example could be a trader who has a $1,000 account, might then go and trade on $5,000 account. Like increase the capital that way with his savings, with profits, with other things on the side. But that makes sure that you have more stress in the beginning. You're not used to it. It's a different level. So you need to be able to understand stress and deal with it correctly. And that won't be about like you go after trading and then drink a bunch of beers. It won't be something else where you try to hide that stress completely. But you got to deal with it correctly. For me, visualization and meditation works really well. But it could also be journaling. So you write down your thoughts, write down what you're stressed about. You'll find that if you write down the cause of your stress and what you feel like, it will help a lot to reduce that stress level. And this is something that psychologists recommend because it works really well. Have a pen and paper, if you can, and write down what you're stressed about and all thoughts that come with it. And then you'll start to, if you have things you can control, you might want to circle them and kind of like keep them in mind. Things you cannot control, you just leave them there, and you cannot really control anyway. But you can actually do what you can do and leave the other stuff aside to just be there and not care about. So this works really well. Again, meditation works well also. Visualization is a good way to do it. If you can visualize what you want to embody, like what traits you want to have in trading, what kind of trader you want to be like, that could be a good thing. You want to be able to do this also if you can. In the end, psychology is all about patterns. The reason why people fail in trading is that because they have these patterns that they don't really know about. They might know a little bit like what these patterns are like, but they get stuck in these patterns. So a pattern works in a very simple manner. It's a thought or a belief that then leads to a feeling and then leads to an action or a behavior. So an example could be where you have a thought of, oh, I'm going to be a loser if I don't take this trade. I'm going to miss out on this trade really big and I should take it. Right? This is a thought. Then you feel like you will miss out. That's your feeling. That feeling leads you to take an action, which is taking a trade that's not going with your plan, or a stupid trade. You take it because you want to be in, because you have that feeling of being afraid of missing out. Now, if we spot it, we can start to think about, well, every time we have this thought, we should do something. We should try to cut that pattern. But if we don't know this pattern, we don't identify the pattern correctly in trading, we don't know what our mindset tells us to do and what it leads us to do, then we'll be stuck in the same cycle all the time. Next time it happens, we'll do the same thing. Take that trade, FOMO, have a losing trade again. Next time it happens, do the same thing until we start to identify the pattern and then find ways to stop it. And ways to stop it are very simple. It could be just like a journaling aspect. You journal before your trade when you have this thought. Or you know if it's that thought that comes up, you know you should not take the trade. You should just stay away. Go walk away, like leave the desk, do something else. If that thought occurs to you, like we can really easily break the pattern. But the tough part is knowing the pattern, what it's about, and identify it correctly. Another example of a pattern could be someone who thinks, oh, I don't want to be a loser. I don't want to be losing the market. I got to prove other people that I'm actually good at this. And I got to prove my friends or my family that I can actually make trading work. Maybe you've been bullied a little bit, or they told you that trading was only gambling, you cannot make money with it. So you want to prove them that you're right. You want to prove them you're worth it. Therefore, the feeling that comes with it is a feeling of wanting to prove people right. Of wanting to be like being empowered, basically. You want to show them, you want a little bit of anger, a little bit of motivation there. And that feeling forces you to take trades you're not supposed to take. The behavior is you go to your charts, you find the first trade you can find, then you take that trade and run with it. Even though it's a stupid trade, it's a bad trade, doesn't respect your plan, you still take it because you want to show people that you're right and that you're good. See how that pattern goes and see how this can be very easily kind of misunderstood for being motivated, trying to do the work, being a hustler, but it's actually counterproductive to your trading. These patterns show up over and over again, but we need to be able to identify them to then work through them. What I like to do is when I find a thought that is within my pattern that I don't want to have in trading, I tend to identify the thought. So I see I have this thought. Okay, I see I have this feeling. I know the feeling I'm supposed to have. I know it's going to lead to a bad action. Therefore, I take a pause. I'll do some breathing. Maybe how I'll talk about the deep breathing, which is very useful for trading. I know a lot of psychologists and traders talk about this thing also. We can actually take a step back and breathe for a while, kind of get your normal breathing rate, get a more calm breathing. And it's really impossible to be stressed and take stupid actions when you're breathing correctly and when you're in a calm state of mind. Like you go away from that thought you had, go away from that feeling, and you kind of define what you want to do and what works best for your trading right now. A very big lesson here. That works really well, by the way. Another day goes by though before I get people reaching out to me saying, oh, I want to be able to predict the market. Teach me how I can predict this upcoming move. How can I know if the price can break out? How can I know if the price can move back? How can I know if my trade is right? I want to talk a bit about the predicting abilities in the market. Now, if you talk to good traders, like people who are actually making money trading in these cameras on Instagram or some other places, they'll all tell you that they're really bad at predicting the market. Their skill in terms of like prediction would be like totally wrong. And they've done studies in the past where they like look at investors and people who predict the market and like all these fancy fund managers who had predictions of what the stock market would do or what this stock would do, what that price would do. And they found that these predictions were about 48% accurate. So more than half the time they were just wrong, which is pretty much like guesswork. It's just like guessing, oh, it's going to go there. Half the time it does, the other half it doesn't. And these were like legit experts with like a lot of experience, a lot of background on the financial markets. They definitely knew their skills there, but still they cannot predict the market. So how would you as a home-based trader, a retail trader, hope to predict the next moves in the market? You can't. So if you take off the focus from trying to predict the next move to trying to focus on trading your plan, it's going to go a lot better for you. It's going to be a lot easier to make money trading because we don't want to predict. We don't want to be sad when prices don't go our way. We want to actually be only trading our plan. We have a plan, we have the rules, we follow the rules. Then at the end, we have a result. And it's your job to look at the results, evaluate, analyze that result, and look whether you can improve it or make it better next time. We don't make decisions based off what the market does today. We make decisions based off what the market does long term, over a quarter, over a year. Then we can change our strategy, change our plan to make it better fit for that market. But trying to sit at home and predict what the price will do next is a fail-proof way to blow up your account. Especially if you get your mindset involved and add more risk when you're wrong or add more risk when you're right, and just do things based on your feelings. One of my pet peeves, if you can say, like something I really hate to see in traders is people with a fixed mindset. I'm sure you've heard about the book of Carol Dweck, where she talks about the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. People who are stuck in that same mindset think they cannot get better, think things will always stay the same. I had a few students that way who really didn't want to grow. They wanted to get profitable, they wanted to have the recipe, they wanted me to do the work for them. But them growing or them putting in the work was impossible for them. They couldn't imagine themselves actually kind of improving or finding ways to solve the problems. They want to stay in the same problems and have someone solve everything for them. And that just doesn't work well for trading. I'm actually pissed off with these people because they take a lot of my time away and they want me to do everything for them, but they don't actually put in and follow through. I could do everything I could. I've even helped a guy in the past set up my algos on his account, do everything I could. All he had to do basically to run the algos was get a VPS for $15 a month. And he said, oh, that's too expensive. I cannot afford this VPS. It's way too expensive. Talking about $15 a month. And I've done all this upfront work for him to set up everything there and actually use it. Then the issue was, oh, it's too expensive. Well, he could easily, with that capital he had on his account, make at least $300 a month. But he didn't want to learn the technology behind it, didn't want to have any issues with the computer, was scared that they would be too complicated, so didn't do it. And now he's stuck at square one, where he was before. So you don't want to be in that situation where you have a fixed mindset. That is the worst place to be in. If you have a fixed mindset and you understand that this is the issue and you have to actually work on it, then do something about it. Try to find a way to fix your problems. Don't stay in the same level where you are with your problems and think there's no way around it. There's always a way around problems and issues. You just gotta find it and work through it and maybe think creative a little bit or talk to other people who have ideas on how you can solve your problems. But then it's your job to actually solve it yourself. So you know when you have a growth mindset, when you actually want to improve things, you find ways to fix things that don't work, you actually have a plan to improve your trading and become better, you actually have a plan to grow your capital, you know where the capital is going to come from, you know you can get better at this, you know it's not going to always be a losing game, and you also know it's not going to always be like an easy like money-making game all the time. So that's going to be tougher, and that's going to be losing money a little bit, and you got to find a way to work through that. Alright, so we're getting a little bit into this video. This is longer than I thought, but I hope you got some value out of these topics and these kind of random things I want to talk about today. If you got some value, make sure you give it a like the video. It's going to be maybe 2 people watching at this point, but I really appreciate your time, the effort you put into watching this and learning from me and my experience in trading. And I hope you can get some value out of this, of course. I publish videos like this 3 times a week. So one interview every Sunday. 2 videos in the week where I teach you stuff about mindset, trading, my own strategies, things I do on the side, and things you can use for your own trading. And I hope you'll kind of use those. Key thing here is not to just like watch videos and have fun. It's to actually watch videos and improve your trading. I think too many traders do videos where they just talk about like fancy cars and like cool things and like cool inventions and like travel stuff. And that's all cool. And I would love to talk about this too. But there's some work you gotta put in first. There's some things you gotta do to reach your goals in trading. And I'm here to share them with you and make sure you get the work done to get to your goals faster. Any questions, make sure you leave them in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts as well there and see how I can help you. And I'll catch you back here in the next video pretty soon. Ciao.